Welcome back to Driving Immersion. We are at Daytona. We are going to be qualifying the NSX GT3. If this is your first time on the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe or follow whichever venue you're on. We're available on Facebook as well as YouTube. So here we go.
Steady on this outbound, please.
So we're going to spend a little time here just warming up the tires. Very cold. So my choice for the GT3s is the Acura NSX. You can see that it's actually detailed very well inside. You can see the texture on the suede or the Alcantara steering wheel once we get into the sun. And display is actually the digital display there on the dash is actually very informative. It contains a lot of information. It's got your tire temps, brake temps, the fuel, the brake force distribution. Not enough braking there into the turn, and that's turn 1, 2, and this is 3. Here we are into the first horseshoe, which is a second gear. That is one of the LMP2 cars there. There are 4 classes of cars that I had set up for the race. There is the LMP2, like the car in front of us. There's the GTEs, which are production-based race cars, as well as the GT3s, but the GT3s are also production-based. They just don't go as fast as the GTEs. And then there's the GT4s, which are very much like the production cars that you'll see. Of course, they have racing brakes and racing transmissions and roll bars and all the weight reduction that a race car has to go through, but exterior wise they look very much like the car that you'd see in the showroom. So the setup that I have actually started out with using the fastest setup for this track in this car, and it never works as the creator has intended for everybody. In fact, when I went there to start using it, the car was very twitchy, meaning that it was either gripping very well and then not gripping at all. There was really no in between, and there was no compliance. So that's one of the open cockpit LMP2s. I believe that is the Oracle. Which is powered by a Nissan. There's the Ford GT, that is a GTE. Here we are at the bus stop, the site of many broken dreams. Going back to the setup, again, I'm using the, well, actually I started with the fastest time trial setup for this car on this track, and it originally was too stiff. The car was at its lowest setting to the track, so there's very little movement allowed in the suspension, which translates to very little compliance. So it's very easy to lose grip, and when you lose grip, you lose all of it. There's no coming back or bringing it back. So what I did was I raised it, I softened the suspension, and the other thing that I found out was that there was no downforce being used or set up. The front and rear were both at 0, which I guess might work at time trial mode, since the car is operating at its maximum capabilities. I guess that's what you want to call it. But here, in an actual race with traffic and other cars, with changing temperatures, changing daylight, and variable weather, that just doesn't work. And that's what I mean by the bus stop, the site of broken dreams. There's really only one way to get through there, otherwise you kill a lot of time. This is one of the GT4s here, and it's the Mustang. And again, you can see that other than the rear wing, there's really nothing else added to the vehicle. So checking at our temperatures here, we're pretty close to optimum. After some research, I had found that the brakes should be at the operating temperature between 300 and 600 degrees, which is the orange that you see there here at Daytona, because of that long straight along the bank there, or the oval. Your brakes have a tendency to cool down, and sometimes too much, especially in the evening or in the cold weather like it is here. I believe the ambient temperature is only 60 something, which is rather cool. So along the straight here in the oval, your brakes can cool down, and you don't want them to really get too low or too far below 300. You can see there that I had actually guessed at the amount of ducting that they should have, and it's usually what I use. It's 50-45 or something like that, or 50-35 depending on the car, and they are just about where they should be. It's running a little bit cool, but not too much. And again, if the brakes are too cold, like they will be at the end of the straight, once I apply force, you can hear that initially the tire skids. And that's because they're cold, and in order for them to grip the calipers, they have to be somewhat warm, or at least warm on the in the sense that the brake pads and the rotor should be warm. Obviously 300 degrees is very hot, but it's warm to a piece of metal and carbon. So we're just going around here for right now, trying to figure out how this car is behaving. I actually had a very good lap in the practice session. I was 0.04 hundredths of a second away from the fastest GT3. So I believe I can do pretty well with this setup. In qualifying. Now the bus stop is very important because when you come out you have a very, very long straight, so you want to be, one, accelerating as soon as possible, and at the same time you want to be accelerating from the fastest speed that you can make it through there. So it does require precision to go through there, and you can't get it right all the time. You can hear the front tires skidding through turn 1. There we are through the kink. When the vehicle was very low to the ground and had very little compliance, I could not make it through the kink without letting off on the throttle, just because even though the vehicle was very sharp in turning in and braking and accelerating, I had no compliance. So again, once you lose grip, it just goes all the way. So on more than one occasion, I just drove straight into the grass, and I was wondering why it was doing that. And I decided to go into the pits and look at the setup, and that's exactly what it was. So that was not the right way to make it through the bus stop. However, I made it through unscathed, but you can't be going over the grass. Got through turn 1 there very nicely. Coming out of the first horseshoe over the line on the left. Here we go through the kink. know, coming onto this oval, you kind of have to wait before you get on the gas, and we'll show you that again next time we go through there. Still not the best way through the horseshoe, but that time at least it's legal. And I'm actually faster this lap coming through there. So I've got the Ford GTE behind me, and showing a lot of pressure. So our goal is to be first in our class. If you look to the very upper left of the screen, you can see that we are running 8th out of the 9 cars. So end in tears. Oh, yep. So I just got a little tap there and totally disturbed the car, and we went off spinning. Probably should have just let him go, but I was hoping to get a good draft off of him somewhere along the straight. Here comes a P2. Now the other P2s usually go very fast in comparison to us, so there's very little chance of us tagging on and getting a draft. We probably have just one more lap before we run out of fuel. Accelerated too early. You can see that the car was pushing all the way to the left over the yellow curb, and we actually came out on the grass. So now that we are actually low on fuel, the car should be very light. blue light is flashing. We're not going to be able to finish this lap.
Confirmed. We're setting up for that now.
Let's go in and get some fuel.
Sit tight, we've got some sort of mechanical failure. We're just trying to figure this out. We'll try and get you back out as soon as we can.
No big deal. We're in the qualifying session, and I think we have plenty of time. Oh, speeding in the pits. Okay, you can see now that because we had stopped, our brakes are actually cold, and because this is an installation lap, we're just going to drag our brakes a little bit before we come into the bus stop here, just to get them heated up. And you can see that we're up to 300 degrees right away, at least in the front. But this time around, I think we can start going full speed. A little wide. Now coming into the first horseshoe there, you should be downshifting rather quickly, because it does come fast and your braking period is actually very short in comparison to the second horseshoe. Our tires are not warm yet. Alright. Again, our goal is to be the fastest in our class, the GT3 class, and with a 147.6, that is only 8th out of 9 cars. close. Full throttle. Kiss the curb. Kiss the curb. Short brake zone all the way down to 2. Actually, that was 1. But that should be a second gear. Now that is a little bit of a longer brake zone, so you kind of want to lengthen your downshifts in between the gears. That way you're just not scrubbing too much speed too soon and slowing down too much. Oh, did not get the front to bite. Not bad. That was not a bad exit out of there. Brakes are up to temp, tires are up to temp. I knew I would lose time. Boy, those GT4s are really slow through there. I was hoping I could get a draft from him coming onto the straight here or to the oval. A little wide, not enough brake pressure. That time I had to remind myself not to go down to first. Brake hard. Oh. Not enough. I was hoping to get through there a little faster, but I didn't brake hard enough, and I slid right through. I was getting buzzed there by a couple of P2s. Until somebody finally nudged me. Coming onto some traffic here, maybe I can get a tow, but I think those are LMP2s, that car directly in front of me, the GT4. running out of fuel. This Aston Martin in front of us is a GT3, so hopefully he can pull us for a little bit. If we could just stick with him. Well, I caught up to the other GT3 and down the inside. There we are. Second fastest time of the GT3s. Alright, let's gather our bearings here and give it another shot. See if we can get the fastest time in our class. So you'll see that I actually have a lot of pressure in my tires, 2.5 bar, that's 30 something pounds. I think 33, 34 pounds maybe. But the wear on the tires is actually pretty good. And that was the right way to go through the bus stop. So let's see if we can replicate it again. We only have a couple of laps left as our fuel is dwindling, but that just means that we are lighter and lighter. We could probably close our brake ducts a little more, as they are cold when we come off the oval. Lost a lot of time there. Get a pull here from the GT4. It's not much, but it's better than nothing. Okay, that did not improve our time, and we are running out of fuel. Alright, we're going to
Roger, hit this lap.
try to make it to the pits on this. 2.3 liters. Less than 1 liter of fuel. I think we'll make it. So I think that's going to do it for now. There's about 10 minutes left in qualifying, and I was only able to get to the second fastest time of the class, which is not bad. Again, there are 4 classes in this race, so at least I'll be near the front of the GT3s, but we'll have a lot of traffic nonetheless. And there is, of course, a full field of cars, 32 altogether. So again, thanks for joining us. Again, if this is your first time here, don't forget to like and subscribe or follow, no matter which venue you're on. We are on Facebook and YouTube as Driving Immersion. Until then, see you next time.